The views expressed are not those of local community broadcasting, WYML LP, or its management, volunteers, or underwriters. Greetings and welcome back to the Personal Safety Show. This is Marcus Melnick, your host from Firearm Mentor and Stress to Logic. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to press the share, like, and subscribe button. It really helps out the channel and helps us bring you excellent information. With that said, we're going to be continuing the conversation with Mark DiBona from Protecting the Guardian. He was in the middle of telling us a story of how he had a really rough breakdown on shift in a squad car and put his gun in his mouth. This is what happened next.
Fortunately, a deputy pulled up next to me while I had the gun in my mouth and talked me down. I owe him my life. But when I went back home that night, I had the suicide thoughts again, and I again put the gun back in my mouth. But this time I said, you know something, I got to get help. I went to Boston for help. The reason why I went to Boston, because I didn't want Florida to know what was going on. I involuntarily committed to a hospital because I walked out of my therapy session because I felt that they had no idea what was going on. So I was involuntarily committed to the point where I was restrained at one time.
Got it.
Because I was combative. When I got back to Florida, I said, I've got to really focus on my mental health wellness. And I found my therapist, who's still my present therapist, Jamie. She's a retired cop, by far one of the most amazing people I've ever met in my life. She took me from my dark place to a place now in life where I literally love life. I love life. I love talking about mental health illness. I love talking about suicide prevention. And I love sharing my story. Because when you share your story, you're going to help another person, whether you realize that or not. And that's my ultimate goal. So being in a dark place, Marcus, is absolutely horrible, but you have to have that will to get out of the dark place. Instead of blaming others, accept responsibility. Be open to medication, be open to therapy, be open to EMDR. There's so many programs now to get you back on track to where you want to be or close to where you want to be. And eventually it's going to get better. It's going to be a lot. Then when I retired, my life changed dramatically. Grew my hair long. I got all tatted up. I played the guitar. I just love life.
One of the things that you said early on in this part of the conversation was, hey, go up to the other police officer, or even if someone's not a cop, a coworker, hey, are you okay? That was a rough meeting. That was a rough call. How do you force the conversation if the person who's going through struggles doesn't want to talk about it?
The day you lose empathy and the day you lose compassion for people is the day you should reevaluate yourself. To go up to a person and say, hey, listen, I kind of reading your body language here, or I see that look on your face, or hey, that boss pissed you off, or said something derogative to you. It's really hard to start that conversation, but you just have to start the conversation with, listen, I got your back. I'm sorry that you're feeling this way. I've gone through some rough times in my life too. Is there anything you want to talk about in a very monotone voice? And just show that person that you care about them. It's very easy to care for other people, but when you walk up there and you're authoritative type, what's wrong with you? What's going on with you? And you have that authoritative voice or that authoritative body language, you're going to shut that person off right away. You say to somebody the effect of, hey, listen, I've been in a bad place, or I understand I've been bullied. That's how you kind of get that even playing field, for lack of a better word. So showing empathy and compassion for a person, that goes a long way.
When you were in your dark time and you went out of state to get treatment, thinking of Illinois law, if somebody is hospitalized for a psychiatric reason, they cannot have anything to do with firearms for 5 years. That's just in Illinois. Did that hospitalization affect your job in any way, or did they just not know about it?
Oh, yeah, it affected me tremendously. Florida doesn't have that law, but when I came back to work, I said, something, full transparency. The thin blue line, the brotherhood, the sisterhood, they'll have my back. They'll get this. When I went in here, the first words out of their mouth is, give me a badge, give me a gun, which has happened here. Well, you're a liability. I'll be honest with you, they talked down to me. They again, like I said a couple seconds ago, they didn't have that empathy and compassion for me. So I was reassigned to a civilian position, which I did not like at all. Not that I'm any better than civilian law enforcement, don't get me wrong, but that's not what I signed up for. I took that to heart. And as you know, Marcus, in the law enforcement world, there's a lot of people that talk crap. I heard the rumor. I heard some ridiculous rumors about myself. I heard that I was on top of the building with a sniper gun. I was shooting at people. I mean, come on. I had people say to me, "I can't work with you because I don't feel comfortable being around you. I'm not going to go to the range because the other guy's going to shoot up the place," and things like that. But I just was really shocked on how people reacted to me being open about mental health illness. Now, there were some good people there also. Don't get me wrong. Some people are really, really very supportive. I owe them a lot for that. But unfortunately, the bad outweighed the good when it came to that. So I went through a bunch of fit for duty wellness checks, and I was cleared to go back to work. But then when I came back to work, they're like, okay, well, you're kind of a liability right now. If you shoot somebody and they pull up your personnel file and they see that you've been committed with a mental health illness, they're going to sue us. Instead of saying, how can we make this better? It was all about them.
Right.
And that made me become very rebellious, where I'm like, okay, you don't care about me, I don't care about you. So it was tough. It really was. I felt like I was walking on eggshells sometimes. But the good people that came up to me and say, I'm sorry to hear what you went through, or can I hear what happened? That's the ones you remember. And
right.
that gives you that will and that drive to survive.
When you were going through treatment, you had said that alcohol was an issue and that you would get a Dairy Queen Blizzard. By the way, ice cream makes everything better. I mean, I get that. Not in excess.
Every day's a good day for ice cream. So
right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what I'm picking out here, and I have a food addiction issue as well, and I'll talk about that, is addiction issues. Were you treated for addiction, food addiction, alcohol addiction?
Not as much as I would like to have been treated for that. They focus more on my suicide issues.
Okay.
That's what they focus mostly on. My present therapist, she keeps herself in really, really good shape. She runs marathons. And so we do address the food addiction issues.
Got it.
Basically, she tells me, stop eating so much. Then don't use food as a coping skill. Instead, hey, go to the gym or go for a walk. Right. Go play with your dogs. Don't eat when you're not hungry. That took a lot to do. Even to this day, once in a while, I get a little stressed out, and I'll open the refrigerator off. I'm like, okay, well, there's some ice cream. Let me have some of that. And then with the alcohol, every person out there helped me with my mental health journey said, alcohol's going to get you in trouble.
Right.
You're either going to get arrested, you're going to lose your job, you're drinking on duty. What if you get in a crash? That really hit home because my mother had a problem with alcohol. That really hit home with me because I thought to myself, here I am trying to build my career in law enforcement and be a solid person, a solid boss, but I'm using alcohol as a coping skill, so I'm not as solid as I think I am. Like I said earlier, nothing good's going to become of that. So that was addressed also, but more so my intensive therapy was more so the mental health issues, the PTSD, depression, anxiety, and the suicide thoughts.
Got it. You said you were up to 289 pounds, lightweight. So I say that because
that was my fighting weight.
Yeah,
so.
For most of my adult life, I was over 300 pounds. I've lost 120 of it, and I know I was addicted to food and good tasting food too. So I finally 5 years ago got that under control, and I'm a ton healthier. So I will reiterate what Mark said, that food should not be your comfort. Now, you want to have a little piece of chocolate? Fine, but don't have a supersized, extra large Blizzard with 18 ingredients of candy.
Yeah, because that's going to lead to diabetes issues also.
Can we talk about some other things that lead to officer suicide? And I'm going to ask you some specific diagnoses questions. What is acute stress disorder?
What I've learned in life is I'm not a textbook person. I relate a lot of my stuff to my personal, what I've either witnessed or experienced myself.
Of course.
So what I've learned in acute stress is it usually happens fast. It comes on like right away, because everybody knows when you feel stressed, what's the first thing you feel? You feel something in your back, your neck, your dry mouth, your breathing. So it happens really fast, but it's triggered by an event. And it can be something as simple as being in a crowd. Like I go to a lot of concerts, and those are very crowded environments. So every once in a while, I feel a little tense when I'm in the crowd. So I'll walk away from the crowd and I'll stand in the back a little bit just to kind of get that out of that tense feeling. Traffic is another one. Who doesn't get irritated in traffic, right? Somebody cuts you off, or the person's in the left lane doing 40 when the speed limit's 60. Those are all things that are acute that happens like right away. But there also are avenues to make yourself better. Go around that vehicle that's going too slow. Step away from that crowd. Loud noises is also another one, and that affects me quite a bit. When I hear fireworks or thunder, it startles me. And I think to myself, why am I afraid of this loud noise? I was a cop for 33 years. I heard gunshots all the time.
Right.
It startles me, but that's your acute system of just sending to your brain, what's going on right now? Why is this happening? And then instead of understanding that, what happens is you react to that stress. And sometimes you react to stress not the way you should be reacting to. So like I said, with that vehicle that's driving too slow in the left lane, as soon as you get an opportunity, go around that vehicle, go into the right lane and pass that vehicle. You're going to feel 100% better once you get in front of that vehicle. That's what I've learned about acute stress was that.
Is that an outgrowth of PTSD?
Oh, I would say yes. Yeah, I would say. I also would say this, Marcus, too, is when you mentioned PTSD, I believe, I never spent a day in psychology school, but I truly believe is every person has some type of PTSD
Yes.
In their life. 100%. I don't care how much of a badass you think you are or anything like that. It can be something from your childhood. It can be something everybody's got some form of PTSD in their life.
I agree and have several. I can pinpoint.
Yep, so
and I probably have some I don't even realize.
Right. And the funny thing about that is, and I like what you just said there, was that could pop up at any time. Any time. You could just be sitting there watching TV and there's something pops into your brain and you get triggered by that. Why is that triggering me? Then, okay, that's why it's triggering me, because 2 years ago this happened.
Right.
Or 2 days ago this happened. In the first responder world, firefighters have the best peer support. Because firefighters, when they clear a bad call, if they're not going to another call, they go back to the station.
Right.
And they sit at the kitchen table and they talk. And that's a true benefit that firefighters have, because they have the ability where they can talk with their shift and sit around the kitchen table. That's like the best therapist table ever. Where cops, you go to a crash, you deal with that crash. It could be a fatality, it could be serious bodily injury, and then an hour later you're at a domestic of somebody that was married for 40 years and they're fighting over the remote over the TV. Or there's somebody beat the crap out of each other, then you go to a homicide,
right.
Then you go to whatever. But during all that time, you're not processing what's going on with you. You could be having a problem. When you walk out of that house with your loved one, whether it's your spouse, family, kids, or whoever, and you don't acknowledge them by giving them a hug and kiss goodbye, that could be the last time they see you. Right. So I say this is, you get in an argument with your other half, it happens, and you drive off to work and your first call is a domestic, the whole ride to the domestic call, you're thinking about your own trauma, of what's going on.
Right.
And then now you're going to go there and solve this marriage issue when I can't solve my own marriage issue.
Can you talk about compassion fatigue?
That's actually very common with the first responder world, and I experienced that also. Heroin was really, really, well, it's still really big, opiates and heroin. The overdoses, when we started carrying Narcan, I never thought in my career I'd be sticking a tube up somebody's nose to save their life. So the vicarious, the compassion fatigue is here we go again. Here's the same overdose. We've been to this hotel now 4 times. But here's the same domestic again. Get a divorce. End this relationship. What is wrong with you people? It's just you have no compassion for, or you go to a horrific crash and you have no compassion for that person that's laying on the ground dead. So you have zero compassion for the victim, which leads to be zero compassion for yourself also. You become cold. You become jaded. You become cold. And that's difficult because now when the families show up, you're pretty much cold to them also. And before I went through my struggles, when I used to go to suicides, I used to say to myself, I don't understand why people are doing this.
Right.
I don't get this. Or I'd read the note and it said, the reason why I shot myself is because I lost my job and can't provide for my family. I used to think we'll get another job.
Right.
But now when I went through my struggles and I saw the family's reaction, I used to cry with families sometimes. That's how much it hit home with me. So when you, like I said earlier, when you don't deal with your own empathy or compassion, and when you lose that, you really need to self-evaluate yourself, because your empathy and compassion also will relate to your personal life also. And that's when I said earlier about my wife, when my wife said, you need to get help, you don't understand, and I was telling you don't understand, you don't get this. I had no compassion for her because I was making her life miserable.
So I'm going to spin up a can of worms that most people don't really know. Most citizens, I'll say, don't really know. Can you talk about, well, let me talk about it first. Bullying and harassment in law enforcement. It happens. Can you talk about bullying and harassment in law enforcement from your lens?
It is horrible. You can relate to this, so I respect this 100%. Is when you go to work and you're with your coworkers and you're spending 8 to 12 hours, whatever your shift is, you're spending with them. And I'm going to use a boss as an example. Like if I'm talking about my old lieutenant, when they go in there and they start punking you and bullying you because they can, that's an issue. That is a horrible issue. Now I'm okay with the cop humor.
Oh, that's not, yeah.
Cop humor is actually pretty funny. Yeah, it really is. But to a point, sometimes cop humor is a little bit of a bullying issue also. And I don't mean to be derogative when I say that. When you're being harassed and you're being bullied by your immediate supervisor or people that are up high in the chain of command who sends out these emails or talks down to you because you're not at their rank, or they just think they're better than you for whatever reason, you take that to heart. I can remember sitting in my driveway because we had take-home cars, and I would start my cruiser up, and it would take me half an hour to leave my driveway because I did not want to go see that lieutenant because I knew he would piss me off, and I knew that he would punk me and bully me. So it's a huge deal. You might be in your safety zone, and here comes somebody coming around that makes fun of you. It makes fun of you the way you look, the way you talk, or something like that, who's supposed to be your brother and sister or your friend or whatever. And it's not healthy by any means. And unfortunately, harassment is horrible in law enforcement. Because I can remember going to meetings where captains are talking down to us like we're 2 years old, or you're not a captain, so you don't deserve my time of day, or people that come in there and demand respect. That's bullying also. I can remember one time we had a serious event going on, and we sent a couple of people out to get some pizzas for us. And as soon as the pizza got there, the people with rank ate pizza before the dead guys do.
That's not leadership.
That's not right at all. Troops eat first.
Right. Always.
Because I was a sergeant then, so I didn't get in that line. And I said, "You guys go ahead." No, Sarge, you go ahead and eat. No, you go. You guys are the grunts. You guys are doing all the work. And then I was told also as a sergeant, you don't eat dinner with the troops. You eat dinner with the sergeants or the lieutenants. You're past that now. You don't have to answer calls anymore. You don't have to write tickets anymore. You don't have to do any traffic stops. That's for them. Well, I'm part of them. I'm not part of.
Right.
It's a team. It's a team effort to lead by example. But a lot of people, as you know, Marcus, with the higher rank they go, the more out of touch they get. And
absolutely.
They think they're all that. It's wrong.
Bullying is very present, and just as a little tidbit for the listeners, bullying's everywhere. It's in every business. It's in every industry. And you learn who you can kid with and who you can't kid with, usually pretty quickly. So I found that out. There's people, they do not have a sense of humor, like the feds. All right, that was a joke. I'm kidding there. What can someone, either in law enforcement or any other stressful job, do to maintain their health, both physically and mentally?
Recognize your warning signs. When you're starting to do things that you normally don't do or start getting intrusive thoughts, recognize those signs that, okay, there's something going on here. And don't just shrug it off. Say, I'll get better tomorrow. It's kind of like having a toothache. Your first day, I get a toothache. Hopefully this go away. Second day, it's worse. Third day, now you're at the dentist, and you want the dentist to pull that tooth. Well, it's the same way with a mental health issue. The more you dwell on it and the more you think it will just go away, it's not going to go away. Hit it head on. There's no shame whatsoever than asking for help. There is nothing wrong with that whatsoever. When I went through my dark time, when I used to look in the mirror, when I saw that huge weight gain, and I saw a person in the mirror that I didn't like his appearance, and didn't like my attitude or something like that. That's when I should have said, okay, we got to change this. But what did I do? I blamed on everybody else except myself. So a lot of times you have to self-evaluate yourself. We in law enforcement, we go to calls, we tell people how to live their lives sometimes. Well, here's an idea. Let's take a dose of our own medicine. Let's practice what we preach. Be open to medication. If you're a huge advocate for mental health wellness therapy, if your mental health professional says, hey, listen, I'm going to put you on a antidepressant. Only crazy people take that stuff. No, That's not true. Okay, that will calm your nerves a little bit. So be open to that. but don't be open to unhealthy coping skills like we talked about earlier. The eating, the drinking, that's not healthy. And then trust your reactions on your physical health also. Why am I having a backache all the time? Why do I wake up with a headache? Why am I shaking? Why am I sweating when it was 30 degrees?
Right.
These are all signs that your body's telling you that there's something going on there. So be recognized into that also. Here's something that's really going to hit home with a lot of people. It might piss some people off also. Let me tell you something. When you take a vacation from work, whatever line of job, whatever job it is, you take 2 weeks off, that organization is going to run fine without you there for those 2 weeks. I'm sorry, pressing bad news. And the day you retire, well, guess what? That's going to run just fine without you. So if you think that your department or your job can't function without you there, you should be working for Fantasy Islands. You know what I mean?
That's right.
It's not true. I learned really quickly when I retired, I was only a number. That's all I was. The day I retired, when I announced my retirement, I guarantee people say, hey, there's a sergeant opening right now.
Oh, yeah.
Or, and I had a really nice take-home car. Mark drives this really nice Tahoe. Hopefully I can get that. But I learned really quickly that my phone didn't stop ringing when I first retired. Hey, let's go out to dinner. Let's hang out sometimes. Let's grab a beer. Yeah, that sounds good. Now I associate with maybe 2 people from the agency, and I'm perfectly fine with that whatsoever.
There's one advantage in law enforcement to gaining weight, and that advantage is you now have tactical girth and you can carry more equipment.
So the gun belt expands. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. So yeah. Let me tell you the story behind that. I was working. This guy's he's in corrections, and I was like, oh my God! I walked past the mirror. I'm so fat, and he goes, "You're not fat. You just have tactical girth." And I'm like, "Dude, you're my best friend."
I like that. Yeah, that's pretty. And as you know, we like all the toys in law enforcement.
Of course.
So, oh yeah, this new flashlight. I need to get this flashlight, or this new something to put on your gun belt, or
right.
utility belt, your Batman belt, whatever you want to call it. That's funny. That's. And then when I lost my weight, I had to adjust like my
right.
belt. I had to adjust where my handcuffs were, where my ammo pouches were, all that stuff. And I'm like, oh wow,
right.
I can't carry this anymore.
Well,
so, yeah, I can totally understand what you're saying.
Nowadays, you can use the vest as a carrier too, as if you have an external.
Those vests are pretty cool, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, I wish I had those.
Mark, what final thoughts can you share regarding criminal justice, safety for police officers, protecting the guardian, how they can help agencies, and please include your contact information in case people would like to reach out to you.
Law enforcement is a noble profession. Be very, very proud for the job that you do. Now, think about this also, but remember this. We're all painted by the same brush. What happened at the George Floyd incident, okay, that affected every member of the law enforcement community, active and retired, because the way it was portrayed and the way things happened was it was portrayed that all cops are bad, and not all cops are bad. I work with some amazing, amazing people that I very proud to say they're my friends, very proud to say they're my coworkers. On the flip side, I also work with some people that not so much.
Right.
And I learned to distance myself from them. Don't let people dictate your actions. It's very hard. You go on a call and you get this one person. I know the law, but he's a cop or something like that. That irritates you. Instead of getting an argument with them, I just say, that's great. And then right there, they're like, okay, I really know how to follow that one up. Always have that good mindset. Now, we talked a lot about mental health, but we also have to talk about the physical aspect of the job also. Be aware of your surroundings. Being a law enforcement is a very, very dangerous job. Every cop has a target on their back every day when they go to work. And some people don't come home from work, unfortunately. And that's heartbreaking. So be situational awareness also when it comes to law enforcement. When it comes to your mental health well-being, one thing I learned really, really quickly, I think my mental health wellness was very successful, is there's things in life you can control, and there's things in your life you can't control. So we're going to touch on this. We'll talk about politics for a really quick second. We can't control what comes out of the White House, okay? We can't control public perception or something like that, but we can control our emotions, how we react to that. That goes a long way, is how you react to negativity, how you react to what you perceive as not right, how you react to something that pisses you off or something to that effect, okay? Your reaction is paramount, how you do that. Now, a lot of times your reaction, to anger, you fight anger with anger. That's not going to get you anywhere because it's like two bulls. You're pushing off on each other. Eventually somebody's going to budge, So what do you do about that? You make light of the situation the best you can. The lieutenant I worked for, one of the things I should have done was transferred. But what did I do? Nope. He's not going to talk to me like that. Nope. He's a punk. He's a bully. I'm going to win this battle. It was very, very simple. And it's not putting your tail between your legs. What that is that's making you better. It takes a bigger man to walk away. Mental health wellness, understand that things do happen. Things happen in life that you can't control. Death happens. Illness happens. There's a lot of stuff in life that you can't control. But don't play victim, be a survivor. I look at it this way. I'm a survivor of sexual abuse. I'm a survivor of mental health illness. Even though I still have mental health illnesses, I've learned now to accept them for what they are, but not dwell on them and not play poor me, poor me, poor me. When you show empathy, compassion, when you share your story, you are helping people more than you think you really, really are. A lot of times after my presentations, I'll get an email or I'll get a phone call or a text. Hey, thank you for being real. Thank you. I've been where you're at. And that really, really helped me. So be that positive person that we should be. Have a smile on your face. When you walk by somebody, nod at them. I've learned now to I have the gift of gab. When I go food shopping, it takes me an hour to go food shopping because I talk to 5 people while I'm in the supermarket, whether it's an employee or a customer or something like that. Just all that energy now that I produce is good energy. And my contact information, mark@protectingtheguardian.com, mark@protectingtheguardian.com. I check my email. I'm kind of like an email junkie. I check my emails all the time. If there's something I can help you with, please let me know. I'm not a mental health professional by any means, but I have 1,001 resources, and I really mean that when I say that. I have 1,000 resources, or just something if you want to get something off your chest. That's my ultimate goal right now, is to help others.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Sergeant Mark DiBona, retired, who really puts out his heart and his soul, wears his heart on his sleeve, and helps other people in stressful situations. Mark, thank you very much for appearing on the show.
Thank you, my brother, and thank you very much for listening.
We have monthly concealed carry license CCL classes in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. Dates can be seen at firearmmentor.com/classes. If you have a question, we can be reached at www.firearmmentorcard.com. That is our electronic business card, has all of our contact information and links in it. It's the easiest way to get a hold of us. Until next time, stay safe out there, and I'll see you at the shooting range. This is Marcus Melnick from Firearm Mentor signing off. The views expressed are not those of local community broadcasting, WYML LP, or its management, volunteers, or underwriters.